Hi, everybody.
Hey y'all, welcome to Paralyzed Podcast. It's the girls, your favorite Femita, Daisy Taimani.
The
What
one and
up?
only. You look all cozy. Look at you with your little blanket and everything.
It's fucking freezing. It's freezing in here right now. Like, whenever the weather gets a little bit warmer, the AC detects it as like, oh, let's put it all out.
I love
No,
that.
it's not that warm. It's only like 60s today. Like, please.
And this is surprising for someone who sleeps with their fan on all year round. You. And
Honestly, I am a lot cooler blooded than I used to be, I think. I'm not as hot blooded as I used to be. And also, it's kind of funny because like, why would my body choose now to do that? Because I'm with the most hot blooded person I've ever dated in my life. Like, they're more hot blooded than me. They hot all the goddamn time. All the time.
yeah,
Compared to them, I'm freezing. I'm freezing. So it's actually crazy. So yeah, I do have my little, I have my little blankie. Also, guys, I fucking stained my freaking white shirt with my lip gloss, so it's also covering that low key.
you improvising it.
Bro, I wish y'all knew the hoops we jumped through this morning to get this podcast to you.
I think
We
that
did
was like 30 minutes. 30 minutes worth of.
yeah, it was. We did a lot to get this podcast to y'all. So go ahead right now, like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, do it
And
all.
keep going. Keep going. Keep it up. Stay with us. Because,
Facts.
this was a
Facts.
lot.
But Deja, what's been up with your week? What's your week been like?
Let's see what this week's been like. Yesterday, I went to the farmer's market with my mom. I live for
Period.
the farmer's market. I love it.
Period.
During the wintertime in Somerville, there is this like specific farmer who does carrots, beets, and I don't know what I got, but it's like a potato, and it is so good. But like they just
Yeah.
do something about their veggies that are amazing to die for. And we got a dozen cookies and we ate it together. But they were
Period.
mini cookies, so don't judge. But they were
Period.
amazing.
Period. 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 No, do
Uh,
big. Do big shit. I ain't listen. I'm not the one to judge.
no,
I will sit
bec-
there and face to the face
yo,
things that I shouldn't be.
and, there's no shame. There's a nice balance, like I be saying. Now that I work at the cookie shop too, the cookies I bought you, that I sent down for
Yeah.
you, I've worked
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it's beautiful. Like it is so beautiful working for like a small business. And I guess one of the drinks she sells went viral on TikTok.
Oh
So
shit.
TikTok will do it for a business. Like, I don't know why they want to ban this app because
Bro.
we sold, I think, like 63 of those things. And she's touched like the max sales she has since being open at in Chestnut Hill. So TikTok will do it. TikTok will do it. And
That's
I
what I'm
don't think it
saying.
needs to be
Like,
banned at
that's what
all.
I'm saying. I'm actually sad and very much scared of TikTok being banned because, for one, what does that say about, like, the country that we live in? And also, it's like that for that reason, especially, it does wonders for small businesses and for people trying to get their name out there in whatever capacity. Like, it really is the difference between changing someone's life and not. And it's just like, and just because Mark Zuckerberg, whatever the fuck, can't get his hands on it, we're gonna ban it. Like, I hate white men. Like, I really do. Like, you can't get your hands on this one thing, and so we're gonna ban it. Like, let's be so fucking for real. Don't piss me off.
That's what I'm saying. So it's on like, it's so
Yo,
annoying in that sense. What happened?
yeah, and then they'll try to word it as like, oh, we just don't want this country to have access to our data. Shut up. That's not the reason. That's
No,
not the
there's
reason.
there's already been a data break through like AT&T and all these other places. So that's
As
not the
fuck,
reason.
yeah.
I think it's just the fact that like Americans can't say we created this app that's doing so well
Mhm.
that like
Mhm.
we need to have it banned entirely. Like we cannot
Well,
have.
also,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, it's because Americans, like Mark Zuckerberg, big billionaire people, can't have access to that data themselves. Like, it's not
Mm,
because this country has access to it and that's, dangerous or whatever. It's because we don't have the access to that. And so we're big mad. It's like, no, no.
uh,
Create a good product. The fuck? If you create a good product that people actually want, guess what? You would have access to that data. Because one thing Americans will do is they'll give you all the data you need if you have a good product. They
immediately.
really do. Like,
Immediately. Because no one's
and it's
reading
not
that.
my fault.
I'm not.
Right. Exactly. This fucking bubble. I can't stand when they do that. It's not my fault that, every time this man adds to his fucking Instagram or his Facebook, it sucks ass. Like, he's always adding new updates onto his fucking Instagram. Meanwhile, people hate Instagram. Like, girl, Do something good, do something creative, do something
Yeah.
innovative, do something that someone actually likes and would give their time to and their attention to, and there won't be a problem. But you can't. And so you're trying to steal someone else's idea so you can have access to that data, so you can have access to this platform that all these people use. And because you can't get it, we have to lose out.
I think it's also the sense too is that many people are touching many millions of dollars. I also think that that has to do something with it too, because then you start shifting like the brackets of who's and what
Mm-hmm.
level, and I think they hate the
Mm-hmm.
idea that people are doing real work for this money. And
I
I
think it's, yeah. I also think it's because like the people that can touch these millions that you're talking about and this status are randomized. Like TikTok goes off of complete luck, for real, for real.
mm-hmm,
Like people will try to say algorithm this, algorithm that. It's really luck. It's really time and place. It's really, did you get on the right trends? Did you do this at the right time? You know, shit like that.
yeah,
And that type of randomization is not how the US runs. The US runs off of a set group of people who we know will
mm-hmm,
make it, the haves and the haves not, the people who have been blue money, like had money throughout lineage going back to slavery, and the people who don't. And that's just, there's a predictability towards it, and it works in the favor of the groups who are in power and they want to remain in power. And like you said, TikTok creates a new factor. Like there's such a randomization and luck at play, and the US definitely don't like that shit. That's facts.
no.
That's facts.
So many reasons, but yesterday was a busy day, and then on Friday I had hot pot for the first time.
Mm.
It's so good. Hot pot was
Mm-hmm.
really good, but I really thought I have like my stripes for like spicy. No, that was something different. That was something
Mm-hmm.
different. Yeah, I felt it after. Um, yes, that was a beautiful experience. So that was fun. Let me see. I think that's it because I feel like I just worked. This was my first week without no more classes, so that was also very nice. I did make that Turkish pasta that I was speaking about last time. We didn't make no video about it because I don't think the vibes were really there. Yeah, that day was not set up, but the pasta was good. The pasta was
I'm
actually
glad.
surprisingly really good. Everybody liked it. After
Mm-hmm.
everybody was talking mad smack, they all ate it. So
Period.
it was good. I think that's my week. Yeah.
Yeah, this week was uneventful for me too, to be honest. Like I'm sitting there doing my little what happened this week, and I was like, I worked.
Yeah.
I worked, and then I worked after I worked, and then in between my two workings, I was trying to get some rest and trying to connect with my partner and like do those small things. So it's like, I mean, and honestly, I can't be mad at it. We're in the winter season. We're meant to slow down anyways. Like life doesn't have to always be so eventful. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's definitely miracle in the mundane. It's about like changing your perspective. But when I sat down and I actually looked at it, I was kind of sad that it did boil down to just, yeah, I worked.
Yeah, I
Um,
hate saying that. That's what I hate having to say though.
Facts, no facts. And along with working, like I got what, my second paycheck at this job since being there. I actually wanted to cry. Like I really did, because by the time I woke up, like my paycheck had been pulled from like every direction because of bills. But like it made me realize that no one should ever be getting paid 11.75 an hour. Like the federal minimum needs to be raised to at least $15 to $18 an hour. Like anything lower than that is not a livable wage. It is ridiculously evil and unethical. Like it really, really, really is. Like I was baffled. I was absolutely baffled. And it's also like shame on H&M, because I remember when I was getting hired and the manager was like, "Yeah, this is the hourly pay. I try like every week to try to raise the pay. Like it's just not going." Like shame on H&M, because you are what, a millionaire to billionaire company. You know
They
what I
sure
mean? Like,
are. Mm-hmm.
and you can't pay your workers a livable wage. Like you're trying to be this like, oh, we're conscious of our footprint, and we do recycle clothes, and oh, we do all these, but you can't pay your workers livable. Like that's where it starts. Like being an ethical brand, being an ethical company, it starts at the bare fucking minimum. Can your workers afford to live in this economy? Not back in the fucking the 80s. In this
No.
current economy, can they afford to live? Like that is the bare fucking minimum. And so I was just so annoyed. I was so freaking annoyed. And then Also, like with the lease ending in like 5 months, we're thinking about what we're doing next. We're going, blah blah blah, and it's just like you look at it and you're like, okay, well, places like Cali, places like living up north, they pay more. You know, like the minimum is higher, but the living is also significantly higher. So even getting paid more in those like places, you're still not really getting paid a livable wage because housing is
Yeah.
ridiculous right now. Rent is ridiculous. Like there's no checks and balances on like rent property, on rents in general. And it's just like, I don't know. Everything is just like pissing me off right now. Like capitalism always pisses me off all the time. Like I'm very much anti-capitalism in a lot of ways. But like sometimes I'll sit down and I'll get extra annoyed by it. And then that, like I'm a water sign. I'm a Scorpio of all fucking water signs. So when I get into that space, I spiral. And I get super fucking existential. Super, super, super existential. To the point that I'm like it's almost debilitating. So I try not to get to those places. But I very much was at this place a lot recently because I'm over it, dog. Like I really am. And I'm like, bro, like we'll get so impassioned about these things and we'll be like a little activated for them, but like we've been conditioned in a way that our rage is not sustainable, our anger is not sustainable, our frustration is not sustainable. Like we haven't mastered, this generation, the generations below us, and even the ones above us actually, have not mastered turning that frustration, that anger, whatever, into action, aligned action, into like actually fighting for change. Like we're so conditioned to live in our bubbles of comfort that
Hmm.
we won't threaten that comfort even if it means it's for our highest good, even if it means for a better quality of living. And it's just, and like even if you did, let's say you are like super activated and you are radicalized, right, by something, whether it's by your lived experiences or by someone else, you can't even rally enough people to back you in that because like I said, we don't want to challenge our comfort levels. And I get it, it's just the system working exactly as it should. Like they're doing a fucking great job, clearly, but it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
It's I resonate 110% because even again, like looking at with the whole political thing, everybody
Mm-hmm.
was, oh, I want to do something, I want to do something, I want to do something. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we initiated something, but where was the rest of the people joining in with it? Nowhere.
Facts,
There has been
facts, facts,
nothing.
facts.
Two, also the system at large, because I also was trying to go get food stamps. I was like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, yeah, da da da. They had the nerve to tell me, yeah, you might actually not qualify because you're a student and you need to be working 20 hours or something. And
Yep. Yep.
I was like
25
what?
hours, I think.
I was like, so my education comes last and
Mm-hmm.
me having to clock in comes first? Since when? No. I also think too it's ridiculous that each state to state there's a different wage. I think there needs to be a
Mm-hmm.
universal wage, point blank
Facts.
period.
Facts,
And I
facts,
think there
facts.
needs to be some sort of support when it comes to like whether you're a student, whether you're like transitioning or something of that nature, there needs to be
Mm-hmm.
something. Because
Mm-hmm.
I this shit, I feel like more now. I think like living on my own and obviously having bills to pay, and I think like yes, that when it puts you in a position and when you start realizing shit, and you're like, oh, like
Mm-hmm.
you're really scraping, like you're out
Mm-hmm.
here like hustling, and it's frustrating, and it gets me annoyed, and I'm just here complaining to everybody, and
Right.
everybody's like, oh yeah, we're going through it too, and I'm like, so you've normalized
Facts,
this.
facts.
This is not normal.
Exactly.
Like this is not
Exactly.
how we should be living at all.
Exactly. Like everyone normalizes it so much that anything you say seems radical. And it's like, this is not fucking radical. I'm saying the bare minimum. I'm saying people should not have to live with constant stress, anxiety, depression. How is that radical? Like, how is that mind blowing? This is the fucking bare minimum.
Literally
Like, what
though.
are you talking about? And the thing is, again, like, I come back to this point always, like, I understand because the system works so fucking well. It works to keep you in the rat race. It works to keep you in this cycle of oppression. Like, if you're so exhausted mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and drained and burnt out, of course you don't feel like you have it in you to do the radical work or to do the activist work or to do the work, period. Like, of course, when you're doing everything you can to make fucking ends meet, to make like just to scrape by, like you said, of course you're not thinking about It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to get your bottom needs met
Yes.
first before you start thinking about quality of life,
Mm-hmm.
or like self-actualization, or doing the work that we all know that we need to do in order to live a better life. So like shadow work, inner child work, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
generational healing. Like it works, like the system works so well, and it's so annoying. It's so annoying. And the only thing that I would come to in terms of like solution is that people need to meet their appropriate edge. People need to meet their breaking point. And the unfortunate thing is that we live in a society that traumatizes us and re-traumatizes us since birth. And the unfortunate thing about that is that obviously there are many, but one of the main ones is that traumatized people have a crazy high threshold for pain, and that means that you won't get radicalized. It's a lot harder for you to meet that breaking point because you've been traumatized since day zero. Like your
Right.
threshold for pain is way higher. Like your threshold for the bullshit is way higher. You're able to, be resistant. And I mean, our brains work really beautifully in that way. It makes us resilient, not resistant, resilient. And
Mm-hmm.
so, unfortunately, that means you can be resilient in a horrible environment, even though what we're needing right now isn't resiliency. We need to be meeting our appropriate edge. We need to be meeting our breaking point so that we can take action. But that breaking point is fucking nowhere to be
Um,
fucking found.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's upsetting because I think even too, one thing I learned recently is that even if, because I've been thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, my lease is not up till next year and the end of like the summertime, but I'm already
Mm-hmm.
thinking like, I don't want to, like, I like living on my own, but I don't think I want to stay in the place I'm in because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to have the same roommates and I don't want to have to like worry about that. So I was like, what if I like leave the States and go somewhere else? But what I
Mm-hmm.
learned is that if you leave the United States of America, you still have to pay taxes to the
Mm-hmm.
United States of America because you are a
Mm-hmm.
citizen here.
Mm-hmm. You
Crazy.
would have to, yeah, you would have to give up your citizenship in order to not pay taxes here. Yeah. Yep.
Because I learned too that you can go to Puerto Rico like fully funded because they want,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, more like Americans to go down there to help out their economy, whatever. So they're willing
Mm-hmm.
to give you like literally a full ride. Just
Mm-hmm.
come here, help us out. But then I have to pay taxes here.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So
Well,
I don't know.
for somewhere like Puerto Rico, that makes more sense to me. Like Puerto Rico and Hawaii make sense to me because they're territories. But like, if I'm in a whole different fucking country, why would I still have to pay y'all taxes? And there are some people who like have whole ass accounts, like Sorella Moore, like Leon something, I can't remember his name, who have dual citizenship, who try to teach you ways to kind of legally play the system, like play the system in ways that are legal,
Yeah.
who have really great videos on it because they've done this for a long time and they believe that like dual citizenship and being like a citizen of the world leads to more freedom, greater freedom. So I would look into that if that's something you want to get into. But I feel you. It like everything about this fucking world is so annoying. Everything
Yeah.
about it.
It's
Everything
like you
about it.
try to escape or you try to leave, not escape, but like you know, a little escapism.
Escape.
But
Yeah,
yeah, but but
yeah,
you
yeah.
try to leave and it feels like you still can't, or like there's many hoops you gotta get through. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll figure it out next year. Come up with a plan.
Yo, and right now we're in our like 5-month run, 5-month marathon, 5-month hustle to our next plan because I think we finally figured out what we want to do next, but it's going to require a lot of discipline from us and a lot of hard work now to kind of see the fruits of our labor like later on, which again, living in our generation, okay, we're not good at delayed gratification. We want the
No,
little treats now that make us feel good now rather than saving the bucks to do the thing that we want to do later. You know what I mean?
exactly, yes.
And I'm not mad at us because again, these are things that we've had to deal with since literal out the wound. And so of course we've created that habit. We've created that neural pathway. It's going to be difficult to break out of a lot of these habits that we have, a lot of these ways of living and being. And so like, just giving myself and each other grace in that,
Hmm.
but we do think we know what we want to do next. But it is exciting. It is exciting. I'm excited to share it. Actually, I have other exciting news that I'm excited to share when I can. But like those are some positive things that came out of this week, like us figuring out what we want to do and kind of sitting down and making that plan, even though it gave us a lot of anxiety to even do that. And exciting news that I might be able to share soon if everything plays how I want it to, plays out how I want it to, and Yeah.
Yay.
Also, on Friday, there was like the meteor shower. I don't know if you heard about it.
I heard, yes. Did you see it? No.
I
Oh,
did
okay.
not see it. So I actually saw it 2 years ago. Ask me where.
Where?
In Colorado.
What the fuck? And
Yeah,
how
the
come I
last
didn't
time
know?
this happened, honestly, great question. Last time this happened was when we were in Colorado. And that's how this Friday I was like, wait, when I saw this last, it was when I was in Colorado. That's fucking crazy. And then I was like, wait, we had to go between like the hours of like 12 to like 3 a.m. We were out there. And so I was like, is that the same thing again? And so I looked and it was. But like I said, all
Yeah.
we did was work, work, and more work this week. So there was no fucking way. We were like, maybe we'll try to take a nap and then wake back up.
Just like cold. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm cold as fuck. And so I did wake up at like 4 or 5, I can't remember, on what was it, Saturday? And so
Mm-hmm.
I went outside and I tried to see if I could see some stuff. I felt like I could, but I also couldn't tell if my brain was playing tricks on me because I was still like half asleep. My eyes were all
Yeah.
gross. You know what I mean? Maybe my eyes are just seeing shit. But just in case, hey, just in case, I made some more wishes. Because I made wishes the last time. You know, I set intentions under it because I was like, this is powerful cosmic energy. And hey, the
Yeah.
last 2 years of my life have been something. So, yeah. So I did do that. I did do that.
Okay. I didn't get I heard about it, but I didn't do, I didn't get to see it do much. No, I
Yeah.
want to, but
Hey, it'll
next
happen
next
again
year?
in like 2 years. Like two
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
So 2 years, maybe.
You have another chance. Yeah. That's kind of my week. Yeah. That's my week. So y'all, our topic of this week's podcast is kind of just like reflecting on what got us to this point on the years up to now, especially from our last podcast. I feel like that's a great marker to start from. Especially because the new year is rolling around. We're getting
Mm-hmm.
fucking close. It's about to be 2025 in the blink of an eye. So we're just gonna do some reflecting on that. My starting question is New Year's resolution. Do or don't?
I'm gonna say don't, and I think that's just because, at least for some reason, what I keep hearing with this upcoming astrology is that it's not gonna really feel like a new year until I think 3 months in to 2025.
Mm,
So I think I'm not trying to do a New Year's resolution this year. I think what I'm trying to do is give myself grace and step back. Like, I don't want to be holding on to the wheel like I do so often. I just kind of want to be like, do my active part, obviously, but not clench so hard of like, I need it to play out like this. I want this. Like, doing what I have to do, but also like letting it go as it needs to be. And then I
yeah.
think in maybe those 3 months period, I just want to be, I don't know, I want to feel rested so that I can actually
Mm,
be up and here and
mm,
do the work I want to do so I can see my end goals come out.
mm.
So
Yeah.
maybe my resolution is just give myself rest for 3 months and do the
That
internal
part, yeah.
work. 'Cause
No, facts, facts. My thing is like I get that. I get the discourse around like it won't feel like a new year. My thing is astrology girlies have always said that the new year doesn't start until April. What is it? March or April? I can't remember. Aries season because
yeah,
Aries marked the beginning of a new astrological year and then also it's the start of spring and people always say like why would you make a new year in the dead of winter? Like that don't make no sense. And so like I agree. I agree, but I also do think that there's a power around a collective of people, like identifying this day as a restart day. Like I think
okay.
that has its own power in it. And I used to be like a little bit more cynical, you know, about like New Year's and New Year resolutions. But even like during me being like cynical, I still would write out 3 words to be like my theme. And I've done that for how many years have I done that? I can actually check. 1, 2, 3 years. I've done that for 3 years. So in 2022, it was alignment, fun, and glow up. Those are my 3 words for that year. I do feel like I had that. 2023, I had I live, I love, I matter. I do feel like those things showed up a lot too. In 2024, it was peace, abundance, and opportunities. I do feel like those happened. They happened in interesting ways. Like a lot of things had to happen so that I could choose my peace and learn how to choose
Mm,
my peace and make that a practice. I do feel like this year was very abundant in a lot of different ways. And I did get a lot of opportunities, especially now, which is what I'm hoping goes well. But Yeah. And then also, I listened to this podcast from Emma Chamberlain. She was like a YouTuber, super big during the YouTube days. And now she's like an entrepreneur, has her podcast, like has cool, shit going for her. But she was going through her last 2 years of New Year's resolutions, like her goal list. And she found that all of her 2023 resolutions didn't happen in 2023, but they happened in 2024.
Hmm.
And then her 2024 resolutions didn't happen in 2024, but she thinks that it'll happen in 2025 because she's on the
Right.
right path. So I think there is something powerful about like planting seeds and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of like just forgetting about them, releasing them, and just trusting that you will one day see the harvest of those seeds.
I see that. I
You know
resonate
what I
with that.
mean?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. And also, as humans, we're super fucking powerful. We manifest our realities all the time, whether we mean to or not, whether we know it or
Yes.
not. And I think part of like not believing in manifestation is a part of like not wanting to take accountability for the way that your life is right now. And I think that can be difficult, but it could also be empowering because that means
Mm-hmm.
if you made the reality that you have now, then you can make a new one. And it just, you have to have faith in it. You have to trust that it will come to be. And so I am doing, and I did do my New Year's resolutions for 2025. I did them this morning. They're long as fuck. They're specific as fuck. And they're big because I was like, go big, go home. Like,
I like that.
type shit.
I might have to, okay. Maybe I'll sit and think and ponder.
Also, yeah, that's another thing. Like, I don't know if you ever realized. So, I know that you and I share two things in common. We both love Mini Coopers and we both love hot dogs, wiener dogs.
Yes.
So when you first decided you wanted a Mini Cooper, tell me you didn't see Mini Coopers literally everywhere.
Yes, because that's how it
Yeah,
works. You say it and you start seeing it everywhere. Same with the dogs.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So part of that is because when you bring it to the front of the mind, your mind knows what to search for. It knows. So even just writing, the act of writing down your goals is bringing to your mind, oh, this is something we're working for. So even if it's not this magical, you manifest it, it's like practical also. It's very
Yeah.
logical, it's very practical. Your mind saying, okay, this is what we're zoning in on. This is what we're focusing on. This is what we're working towards. So even if you're not like a woo-woo type of person, even if you're super logical, you're super practical, whatever, it still works even then. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you should do it. That's just me. I think everyone should do it. I think, and worst case scenario, what? It doesn't happen? What's 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes just writing down some goals? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do it.
That's my whole thing. That's my whole thing. I wrote down my 3 words too for this next year because that's
Yeah.
something I've been doing, so I want to keep up doing that. Yeah, that led me down a rabbit hole also of like how fucking powerful our thoughts and our beliefs are. Like ridiculously powerful. And I wanted to know like do you have any stories of anything that proved to you where you were like, "Oh shit, I am a powerful being."
Huh. I think I touched on it. I think I touched on it a few episodes ago when we did the podcast, in the sense of that choosing to leave my job and then getting presented more yoga opportunities.
Mhm.
And that to me has been, I don't think I verbally said it, but it's something that like is always on my mind of like, how can I use this side hustle, but maybe make it more entrepreneurial, maybe make it more of like
Yeah.
something I'm doing full time, or like have this be the launch pad for other things I want to do. And look at me now. Like, this is all I do.
Period.
This is like one of the studios I just started working at is always looking for subs. Like people that again that I've been in contact with in the past have reached out again to kind of get me back
Mhm.
into like certain opportunities. So that's kind of like that's powerful in that sense.
Mhm.
And then I think even now that I think about it, the living on my own, I remember, I don't know
Mhm.
when I did it or if I did write it down or just said it, but I was like, when my sister turns 15, I need to be out the house. I can't be here
Mm.
anymore. And my sister's
Mhm.
14. She's about to turn 15 next year. So I think like that again, like I made this happen.
Facts.
It's still in that same like timeline frame. So I was like, okay, like look at me there. And then I'm waiting to see the results about this whole school stuff. But I think even that within itself, I was like, I'm not going back. Like
Yeah.
this needs to be remote. So I'm waiting to
Yeah.
see if my words carry the weight and it's
Yeah,
gonna
for
do
sure,
its
for
thing.
sure.
But those are like just a few that are kind of like in the front of my mind right now.
Facts. I think there are definitely small moments where I realized I had like manifestation, like I realized how powerful manifestation is in words and thoughts and intentions. Like one of the stupid small ones is while I was with Niles, I wanted so badly to be able to do my own nails. Like I was like, I want to be self sufficient in this way. I want to do it, blah blah blah. Fast forward, break up with Niles, move to my grandma's. Watch me literally have everything I needed to start doing my own nails.
I love that.
Every single thing, down to the drill. Like, who has a drill? Like, why you got a drill, queen? Like,
Because
what the fuck?
grandma's arts and crafts, you know that.
Yeah, she's a DIY girly. Yeah, she's very much. Me and her are the same in that way. Like, why would I pay someone to do it if I can do it myself? The fuck? So, yeah. But, like, I was like, oh, I definitely manifested this. So, like, small, stupid things like that where I'll be like, clock it, clock it. But something like bigger things, my girlfriend, literally down. I can pull up my perfect lover list, is what I had. I wonder if it'll show me when I wrote this. It says I wrote it in 2023. I'm talking about I could check every single thing off of that list. That is my partner right now. I definitely manifested the fuck out of that. Living outside of Boston, every time I live outside of Boston, it's because I was over Boston. I was like, I need to get out and manifest that. Like, bigger thing. And then also, the job that I was working at when I first moved here at the daycare, I don't know why, but as soon as I walked in, I was like, within 3 months, they're going to hire me or promote me. And it was, I think, within my first few weeks that they
So
promoted
yeah.
me. Yeah. And so like every single time I'm like, oh yeah, I really am that girl. I really am. Okay. But then the side effect of that is you start to get a little afraid too. Because you start to think of the thoughts. You know how everyone has intrusive thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no energy to that. And like we as humans have the craziest intrusive thoughts. Our thoughts be like, what if I literally fell off this balcony and literally broke my neck right now? Like, why are you
Yes.
thinking about that? Why
Yes.
would you do that? Or like some of them are scary, dog. Some of them will be like, you look at a kid and you're like, what if? And then it'll go on this like, or like you'll look at a stranger or an old lady at the top of the stairs, like, what if I just pushed her? And of course you would never do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you are any type of sane, you're not gonna do it. You have self-control, right? But intrusive thoughts actually are your brain's way of predicting bad outcomes so that you can protect yourself. You can stay safe. That's why our brain does that. It's not just because
Okay.
our brains are evil, but when you start to think about how powerful your thoughts are and stuff, when those little things come up, you're like, ooh, God forbid, no jinx, no, knock on wood, knock on. I'd be like, this is what I actually do whenever those come up, especially if they're persistent and it's like continuing. I'd be like, no energy towards that, energy instead towards, and I'll say the opposite, like the positive
Okay.
opposite.
Yeah.
Like for the old lady one, like no energy towards that, energy instead to her being safe and healthy. You know, something like
Yeah.
that. But bro, that'd be the side effect because then you start getting anxious and scared, and you be like, let me not do that.
I'd be like, oh,
Let me
brain, shut
not.
off, please shut off. And then I'd be like, okay, tune in something else.
Back. You start just singing a song or something.
Literally me, because I'm just like,
Yo, humans are powerful beings, dog. But would you like to start your reflection on from, let's say, from our last podcast to now, anything that you haven't previously brought up that you want to reflect on, especially in the name of like, entering this new year better, I guess, freer, more lighter.
I think thinking about how I got here, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or even from like our last podcast recording, we were doing that before we went to Colorado, right? Or in the midst of
Yeah,
Colorado? Before Colorado.
we were doing it before Colorado, yeah.
Okay, so I think like even within itself of choosing to go to Colorado was an adventure in itself, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what started it. I think that was me choosing to get away from life itself or what I thought life was or what everybody was saying it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it also was something that was on I did like a vision board and I still have them. And having
Mm-hmm.
AmeriCorps was there, having like a picture of like more outdoorsies versus like the city was there. So I guess I had
Mm-hmm.
actually manifested Colorado. Even though it may not
Yeah.
have felt like what I wanted it to be because that was a bittersweet experience, that was a
Mm-hmm.
manifestation within itself. So then coming back to then figuring out that like actually I still do want to pursue education. I just didn't want to do it in the way that I was as well. So there's that. And then I think
Mm-hmm.
now the position that I'm in is that I think I've been taking more risk or not risk, chances.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taking more chances on myself and really believing in myself and less of like a I need to do this in the way society says it, or I need to do this for X,
Mm-hmm.
Y, and Z, because I think that's my default as I think a Libra moon, but also Gemini. Like, I am very communal, very relationship, very much like I need
Mm-hmm.
someone else to be there to help me or have someone by my side. But it's
Yeah.
stepping away from that as a clutch and knowing that, like, I got it. Yes, people
Yeah.
are good to help and whatever, but like 9 times out of 10, I still have to believe in myself and get it done at the end of the day. And I think that's what living on my own has proved to me as well, but also
Mm-hmm.
many moments in life where I always surprise myself at how much I've done. Like, I think I've reflected on that this week. That's why I think I
Mm-hmm.
gave you those prompts or like the things that came to my mind, because I was just
Yeah.
like, girl, you've done a lot, and it may not feel
Mm-hmm.
like it, or you may not think you have, but I'm proud of myself. Whether I need someone else to say it to me or not, but I feel like I've stepped up in the sense of like feeling confident in
Mm-hmm.
myself, to stepping away from ideas or ways I felt like I needed to be due to like the people I was around, the community I was around. So completely
Mm-hmm.
just stripping like my identity and finding out who I
Mm-hmm.
am at core. And I think
Wait, can you
now,
talk more about that? For
what in that,
sure. Can you? Yeah,
in
can you
that,
explore that deeper?
I mean, I I think my identity itself is something I'm still exploring, but I think like in the sense of like I used to be such someone who, again, as a Gemini and Libra, like that moon, that part, I think I attach to like the people that are around me, and like their
Mm-hmm.
identity or who they are become who I am. So
Mm-hmm.
I was super identifying, I was identifying myself as those that were around me, all my friends, the friends I had at the time, my immediate household, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I don't have much friends or much of a social life, and now that I'm not at my immediate household, it has put me literally in the mirror of myself. Like, who am I? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not X, I'm not this, I'm not that. Who am I? Yes, I have a partner, but I can't see my partner 24/7. So again, I'm not my partner neither. So like, it put me in a position to be like, what do I want? Who am I? And again, reaching and establishing the goals I see for myself. So it became, and I don't want to say it became very selfish. It didn't. I think I finally was putting myself front and centered and was like, all right, like
Mm-hmm.
this is who I am. So I think
So who do you feel like you are now? Like, how would you identify that? Like, how would you identify what the change is that you've like seen or come to terms with?
I think I'm very much more capable, determined than I think I am. I think I'm also a lot nicer than I also perceive myself to be. Like, I think I still do have that, like, that people once knew or can still kind of say about me, but I don't think that's my identity. Like, being a mean
Mm-hmm.
girl or being like, I think I'm still trying to figure out, I think, gender wise and all these things about myself, but also embarking on that journey. Because I think also, too,
Yeah.
being around people that would be like, you're a girl, like, you're not going to shave your own kids, or you're a girl and you're going to do this. Like, things of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, stepping away from that and being like, actually, that doesn't align with me. I'm who I am and I want to do these things. So, like, even that within itself is something to embark on. So I don't know if I really have words to mask it up, but I think I'm pleasantly surprised and
Mm-hmm.
wholesome and grateful, I think, to see who I am now from, like,
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago, honestly.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's something that I've always been able to see, that you're a lot kinder, sweeter, compassionate, all of the things, then I feel like you were getting reflected back to you, even in those moments. So I'm glad that you're able to see that in yourself now. And also, absolutely, you are extremely determined. You are extremely perseverant. You are extremely, like, you have one of the most incredible work ethics I have ever witnessed. So I'm glad that you're able to, like, see those things. And my hope for you, my wish for you is that like the people that you choose to surround you from here on out, especially on this journey of you being able to find yourself and see yourself a lot more clearly, I hope they reflect the best parts of yourself, the best versions of yourself, for real.
Thank you. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. Trust that for
Yeah,
sure. So that's why I'm just like, I'm here for the long run, honestly.
that's what else were you reflecting in your? I'm sorry, I had got you zoned in, but you were saying other things before we had
I
zoned in.
think, I think even just like reflecting on how I put myself in a position of not having to be employed. Like, yes, I do have a part-time job, but
Mm,
like many times people will tell me, being a yoga teacher is not a job, or like you can't make that a business. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
we live in the age of internet. We live in the age of like,
Facts.
it's a different world. I can make
Mm-hmm.
whatever I want possible, and I think I'm finally doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also nice too to have a partner support that, or like have the same kind of
Mm-hmm.
vision for themselves, but like having somebody close to you be a confidant. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like it's nice to have someone or some people around you trying to do the same thing or have the same end goal, so that you
Mm-hmm.
know, like you're like working towards the same thing. But even putting myself in that position of like financial security and feeling like this is
Yeah.
the only way I'm going to be able to be okay. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm proving myself day in and day out. Girl, you're good. Things are okay. You're
Mm-hmm.
fine. Like, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that too, and I think even, I think just ultimately tending to myself. I think oftentimes I get caught in being me and like just above surface, just chilling and going with the flow, and then I'm like, I'm burnt out. I think so. Then
Yeah.
choosing to notice my signs and not take on more than I need to, as
Mm-hmm.
being a doer, I think so. It's like layered. It's layered. It's I'm
Mm-hmm.
like still figuring it all out, but I think like still ultimately like myself. I think is what I got here. Is how I'm here. I think just me choosing me and being okay with that and
Mm-hmm.
not feeling like bad or mad or sad
Mm-hmm.
about it, but like I got me at the end of the day, you know, so I got to be okay with
Mm-hmm.
that and do what I need to do wherever I am on that life path that has brought me to now.
Facts. Facts. Well, when we first started our podcast, I had just gotten out of almost 4 year long relationship in which that I had like completely taken on, like you're saying, my partner's everything. And so I felt very much lost during that period when we got the podcast going. I remember it was like a saving grace because at the bare minimum it was a reason to get ready and do something. Because for about a year, like from the time that we had broken up to the time that we went to Colorado, mostly didn't work unless it was freelance through Rover and Wag. And I spent most of my time in a room that didn't have no furniture, not a bed, not the most furniture it had was a bench and then later on a table. And I just existed. I just existed. I breathed, I took shits, I peed, I woke up, I went to sleep. You know, I just existed. The most I did for myself was go on walks every single day. And it was a lot of like reflecting. It was a lot of grieving. It was a lot of, like you're saying, finding myself, rediscovering myself. And like just trying to figure out what went wrong. How can I avoid it? How can I do and be better? And then we went to Colorado, and that was a spiritual ass experience for me. Also bittersweet for me too. And towards the end, a little bit traumatic. But it did teach me not to trust white women. Okay, sorry, bad joke. But it was a needed experience because it was my first re-immersion back into the world. And it was something that showed me like, oh shit, girl, like you are that girl. Like people really are drawn to your light. They really are drawn to you. You make a big impact in every single life that you touch. Like you are really that girl. It helped me find my self-worth again. And then also have my gay awakening. So it was new experiences. I was in a new place, in a new state. Like there was a lot of new experiences and I needed that. I needed to be excited for life again. It went from like me not being able to see outside of my sadness to like me finally planning for the future again, finally wanting more again, and doing it in a very spiritually aligned way too. So that was really beautiful. And then we came back, and I feel like the in between from like coming back to Colorado to like moving to South Carolina was encountering my shadow self. Like if I had to sum it up to one theme, that's really what it was. Because I had just come back from like finding my self worth again, falling in love with myself again, like being excited for life again. And I think the opposite end of that spectrum, the opposite end of that pendulum swing was like, here's parts of yourself that aren't the most beautiful that you also need to learn to love. And I definitely am still doing that now. That's definitely still work that I'm doing now. And I think it went from like relationship shadow self to now like self-worth in like career wise and like what my life can look like wise. So it's definitely a continuation of that, but just like a different like overheading theme, I guess. But yeah, during that was definitely confronting my shadow self, confronting my relationship shadow self, and things that I still needed to heal from that because like I didn't realize that I was still holding my fears that I had gained from my relationship with Niles. Like, I didn't realize that I was still so afraid of getting hurt again in that same way, of seeing rock bottom in that same way, that I was actively pushing away someone who, again, meets all my checklists, all my criteria, like very much in a self-sabotaging mode, and was choosing instead to connect with someone who filled my ego, who
Mm.
stroked my ego. And yeah, it also showed me, like, I had to learn a lot about, like, the ways that as humans we choose what's comfortable, even if it's painful, even if it's self-sabotaging, like the
Mm-hmm.
familiar pain over the fear of getting hurt again in a way that you can't, that doesn't feel so familiar, you know, like, there's still so much of this past year I feel like I'm not able to communicate, also because I think I'm still processing it.
Same. Yeah.
um like, I just recently stopped feeling so heartbroken over the relationship that I was in parallel to the relationship that I'm in now, because I was in a actively polyamorous relationship, and so I lost one aspect of my polycule, and I just now very recently started feeling like I'm not grieving that. I'm not grieving him anymore. And so I think what is next is being able to process accurately some of what I learned about myself, and being able to integrate it and apply it, and then I'll be able to express it more clearly and more
Mm-hmm.
coherently. But I think if I had to, like, identify what phase I'm in now going into 2025, I am realizing that I don't have to be so afraid of the things that I experienced with Niles, whether it was our relationship or the risks that I took, because I was a very impulsive person when we were together. Like, I don't have to be afraid of that. Now I'm learning you can still take risks, but they have to be calculated risks. Like,
Yeah.
you can still open your heart to love, which is something I don't think I closed my heart to love, but I more so closed my heart to the fear of getting heartbroken, like realizing that whether you like it or not, you are going to lose the people that you love, whether it's to death or to sickness, or just because you guys part ways, or you don't, you outgrow each other, whatever. Like, learning to fall more in love with the painful shadow sides of life, learning to fall more in love with, like, the life death life cycle of life, and that runs through everything, relationships, your motivation, your libido, all of things, like, all of the things of life have a cycle, and learning to tune to it and be more in alignment with it and be more accepting of it, because for whatever reason we're in a society that seems so obsessed with death. Like, our media has it everywhere. It's gruesome, it's traumatizing, but we're also so deeply afraid of death. Like, it's so weird seeing that, like, we're obsessed with it but deeply afraid. And so I'm learning to, like, fall more in love with death in all of its aspects, not just, like, death the way that we know it, but death in, like, the winter. That's death. When you don't have the same motivation and libido, that's a death of a cycle. You're going into another cycle. And then also, in alignment with what you're saying too, like, taking chances with myself, like, learning to embody the courage and bravery enough to be like, to outwardly say I want this and I'm gonna work for it, even if I have to fail out loud, even if you guys
Mm-hmm.
have to see me fail. Like, that's embarrassing. No one wants to do that. No one wants to be like, you said you was gonna do that thing and you didn't. Sorry. And we all know that there are some people who take so much joy and gratification off of seeing you not do well. We know that's a thing. It could
Yeah.
be full ass strangers, or it could be people that are close to you. Like, we know that's a thing. And so, like, knowing that you're able that you had that there's a chance someone can feel happy about you not doing well is just, like, so
Yep.
off-putting, makes you not want to do
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
But, like, just being like, fuck it. Like, what happens if I don't do that? I choose not to live for myself. I choose to not be fully
Exactly.
alive, type shit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah. Always a lot to be done. Always a lot to be done for some
Always.
reason.
That always, every single time. Like, it is a never one and done. It is never like a, okay, you did this. Like, it's a continuation. There's always new things, and it's just forever evolving. Like, that's what I'm learning. I'm forever evolving, and I don't know. I think I'm like, as I'm saying this out loud, I don't know if it'll make complete sense, but I think it's like things build on one another, or it's like a, it happened and it's leading you to this moment, and eventually, like,
Mhm.
I hope we can cognitively, like, pinpoint it or be like, okay, it happened.
Yeah.
Because I think if not, it's gonna happen or feel like it's a reoccurring pattern until you're like, oh shit,
Mhm.
like, it's front and center. Like, I think
Mhm.
about it like me and wanting to be an entrepreneur. Like, I had chances
Mhm.
upon chances, and I kept choosing my conditioning, working more
Mm.
jobs, doing more
Mhm.
this, and working for everybody, and then being hit with the, jobs ending or putting in a position of like having to stand up for myself or speak for myself again. And it's like, and now I'm here. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do what I normally do.
Facts. Facts.
So, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, just live.
It's a lot. We're alive and we're breathing. We don't have the answers, but life will definitely show you a few things or two.
Facts. Facts.
That's all I'm here for is the little token of little gems and the little lights and the little tidbits of what I'm learning. And I'm gonna come out on the other side better than I did. That's for sure. That
That's
I
for
can say.
damn sure. Yes,
Yeah.
that's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what we got for y'all this week, y'all. If you want to, let us know what your manifestation stories are. Are there any moments where you were like, damn, I'm powerful?
Yeah.
Or if you want to share any of your New Year's resolutions with us, please do. As always, thank you for being here. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank
Uh,
you.
like, comment, share, subscribe. You don't have to see it. I hate to see it. Ooh, you don't have to. You want to add?
No, I think that's
Okay.
good. I think
All
that's
right,
good.
y'all. Until the next one.
Until next one. Bye.
Bye.